I was headed to the wind terrace to check on the sky element crystals, a routine part of the day. I heard a soft, high-pitched chirping sound coming from the thick brush on the forest floor.
It was a griffin hatchling, but far from its nest, hiding down here in the deepest shade.
Normally, a hatchling this size would be testing its wings above the canopy, not terrified on the ground.
He was far too large to be carried, and he clearly refused to move, too scared to even run.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
The first priority was containment. He needed to be moved to a safe place for observation. I needed to get him into that carrier, a tough but necessary step for a creature this fearful.
Easy, easy, I'm just helping.
I gently used the blanket to provide a dark, safe enclosure, minimizing any sudden visual stimuli.
Here we go, Zephyr. After securing him, I took a moment to formally commit to his care and his long road to recovery.
Griffin lore suggests a fear of flying is a sign of a rare, deep bond, but only if they overcome it together.
The journey starts here, a challenging road for a creature that refuses to be who it was born to be.
First order of business, an examination to rule out any physical injury that might be calling this intense fear.
Trust the process, buddy.
The good news is, his wings are structurally perfect, nothing physically wrong that would prevent flight.
His blood work only showed a high level of stress hormones. This is purely an emotional block, acrophobia. The first step is building his new home, a space that feels safe and grounded, especially the den zone. The den must be low and covered, a complete contrast to the open sky that griffins are meant to embrace. I designated the open, mossy area as the forest floor, his feeding zone and primary comfort space. I wanted to give him total control over his first moments here. He had to choose to leave the security of the blanket. His eyes immediately fixated on the tiny, glowing light coming from the safe space I built for him, his retreat.
Look at that, he chose the den. He chose safety, his first clear sign of trust. A small victory for us both.
Now we wait. He needs time to process everything, to realize that this ground is safe, at least for now.
The first night is crucial. I need to observe his feeding behavior, and if he uses the den as his permanent retreat.
He ate everything I left for him, a good sign that his fear hasn't completely suppressed his natural instincts.
The next step is to start associating me with positive things, and slowly introduce some low-level stimulation.
The biggest hurdle is getting him to accept direct contact, to associate my presence with comfort, not threat.
He's trying to process this. Instinct tells him to flee, but his desperate need for security anchors him to the ground. The first touch. It was barely a breath, but it was contact. A bridge built across fear. He needs a powerful name, one to guide him to the sky he so clearly fears. Welcome to the sanctuary, Zephyr. First feeding from my hand, one of the strongest ways to build trust in a species dependent on its primary caregiver.
The first phase of training is entirely ground-based, low-level play and obstacle work, building confidence in his legs.
Come on, buddy, look at that.
He moves with surprising agility, but watch how those beautiful, oversized wings stay tightly pinned to his body.
We have a long way to go, but establishing this routine, this bond, is the foundation for everything that comes next. He sleeps curled up tight at night. His vulnerability is tangible, forcing me to confront my own past anxieties. The next few weeks were a blur of growth, routine, and refusal. Zephyr was growing fast, but his fear grew faster. He hit early juvenile size almost overnight, but the increase in his physical power only seemed to intensify his stubbornness.
I had to install high reinforced netting across the habitat. He was too big now and could jump clean over the old walls. Look at that. Safety first.
The next habitat upgrade, building the wind terrace, a high, controlled platform to test his tolerance to elevation. The sky element crystals help. They emit a calming energy for flying creatures. But for Zephyr, they're just another reminder. Jasper's stoicism seems to soothe Zephyr, offering a quiet, non-threatening presence he can learn from and observe.
Then there is Rook, a raven whose job is to challenge, annoy, and remind Zephyr of his rightful place. Zephyr is already demonstrating high intelligence. He recognizes Rook is mocking him, but his flight instinct is completely overridden by panic.
His progress is measured in inches. Every step up this gentle incline is a victory against a lifetime of instinctual terror.
That was gust projection, an accidental manifestation of his sky element, triggered by pure panic, and it gave him a minor injury.
Easy, buddy. It's okay.
He is getting too large for this space. His world is too small. I need to expand. But also, the pressure change was extreme, triggering a primitive response I hadn't prepared for. A biological fear flare.
It's just the weather, Zephyr. Come on, buddy.
The air pressure hit critical mass. The sanctuary's protective netting, meant to hold a hurricane, couldn't handle the magic.
The debris knocked Rook off course. He fell hard, a sharp, sickening sound confirming my... I rushed to him, seeing the blood on his beak. One of the few creatures I trusted to challenge Zephyr was down.
Rook, no.
Zephyr saw it all, but the sight of the open sky and the raging elements paralyzed him. He couldn't even hide anymore.
I had forgotten the warnings in the ancient texts. Great storms attract the Sky Sanctuary's most lethal predator, the shadow vulture.
I needed to get Zephyr into the den immediately, the only place he felt secure, but I couldn't reach him without scaring him.
I can't leave him here.
Zephyr's fear had peaked. He was caught between the open sky, the storm, and the trauma of seeing Rook fall. He was completely vulnerable. I had to force the issue, to provide the only secure darkness he craved, even if it broke the trust. The den was small, dark, and terrifyingly cramped, but the physical closeness was the only shield against the storm's invisible enemy.
Then it arrived. A colossal shadow, drawn by the storm's power.
The vulture's eyes pierced the darkness. Its intention was clear. It wanted the fear, and Zephyr was drowning in it.
I knew then I had to do something drastic. A physical barrier wouldn't stop it, but a moment of distraction might be all we needed. Trust the process.
The stone was insignificant, but the surprise was effective. It turned its attention, but only for a second.
That screech was the breaking point, the noise, the fear, the realization that his friend was gone, and he was next. That's when the magic unlocked.
Not a gentle wind, not a gust. It was a massive, controlled thunderclap projection, the sky element fully released.
It wasn't a choice. It was survival. The fear was still there, but the primal need to protect us both was strong.
The shadow vulture was gone, scared off by the raw, unfettered power of a creature refusing to be prey. The immediate danger was gone, but the storm had revealed a greater weakness, Zephyr's complete reliance on the ground.
The fear is still there.
The next step, making the wind terrace a necessity, not an option. I moved his food source to the highest point.
He was hungry, but the wind terrace felt like an insurmountable climb.
Every single step was a fight against his own panic. Every ascent was met with an immediate, crushing instinct to retreat. But the memory of the shadow vulture, or the paralyzing fear, overrode the fear of height. He took the last step. He spent the night on the terrace, his body low to the crystals, the height the only available form of security now.
In the morning, the wind was perfect.
The fear of the blanket, the fear of the open sky, and the memory of the shadow vulture all collided. The only way out was up.
He wasn't flying yet, he was gliding, an uncontrolled freefall, but he was in the air, using his wings for the first time.
Glide! Zephyr, glide!
He chose the sky. He used his power, and he faced the height. The journey was not over, but the fear of flying was broken.
With the breakthrough achieved, I immediately doubled the size of the flight zone, giving Zephyr the room he needed to truly trust his wings.
He was no longer afraid of the height, but he needed to learn the rhythm of flight, starting with controlled, short-burst flapping.
Flap, buddy, flap!
He quickly moved from simple hops to short, awkward flights across the ground, propelled by sheer muscle and the raw sky element. The first intentional flight to his food source, a small victory, but one that cemented the wind terrace as his starting point. The bond was stronger than ever. The shared crisis had solidified our trust, moving past simple conditioning to mutual reliance. The final test, the highest point of the sanctuary, the peak of the ancient oak tree, right against the open sky. He was ready. The sanctuary had done its job. The sky was waiting, with only a final, deliberate tear
No hesitation. He launched himself into the open air, embracing the very elements he once feared. A true Sky Griffin.
My job was finished. The sanctuary, created from my own fear of loss, had finally set a creature free.
He was the west wind, a powerful force no longer chained by the fear of the fall. He was free,